Good evening. How's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Wednesday night. It is the Earthmaster out here, 9:25 p.m. That's California time here, February 5th, 2025. Latest activity here on the Earthquake 3D Globe shows a 1.1 California. Also some movement down here across the Gulf of California with a 4.1. Watch for some potential elevated activity out there across Southern California following this movement across the plate boundary. Normally tends to work its way up that way. Let's go ahead and check out what's going on out here across the Greece area, Santorini Volcano region. Continued earthquake swarm with 1,274 events being recorded here on the Raspberry Shake earthquake map. Looks like the latest quake here in the area, a 2.8 in the Greece area. Couple earthquakes here today of noteworthy value. Let's go check out the USGS map so we can see it on their model here real quick. Mostly fours out here. The last 4-pointer about an hour and a half or so ago. Quite a few fours, though, continuing in this sequence of events. This is just the last 24 hours. No 5. Well, there was one 5. I take that back today. 11 o'clock. And even though there's only 25 earthquakes showing up here, that's just because the USGS reporting only 4.0 and above. The other map shows pretty much all the earthquakes. But even so, for the USGS map, 84 earthquakes here in the last 7 days of magnitude 4.0 and above. That's some decent earthquake activity continuing there across the region. Look at this seismograph station around the Santorini area. No sign of anything letting up out here yet. This has just been an ongoing ordeal here for the past few days. I don't know what else to say other than we got to continue to watch it. There has been some signs out there of what looks like visible water level droppage, but in the sense, though, it's not the sea out here that's dropping. It's just land rising up out of the sea, making it look like the water line is lower. So that's obviously some concern there because that's, it's not good news, right? Little migration here towards the Santorini area. Most of the clustering still going on across this region here, around the Colombo volcano and a couple other different submarine volcanoes there. Either way, nothing's changed. Still watching it closely. Just got to stay safe and be prepared for a potential outcome here. And what it is, who knows? I don't think this is, plate tectonics there. I see a few comments there on my last couple videos stating that it is plate tectonics. Has nothing to do with volcanic activity. I tend to disagree. There's a magma chamber down below the level there, below the sea level there, about 10 kilometers or so, 6.2 miles. That it's building up. It's recharging and it's swelling. And when that takes place, guess what happens? That happens. The outcome, the end game, we'll have to watch. All right, let's go ahead and check out California here real quick, see if we got anything major going on out here. For the West Coast, not really. Only a couple earthquakes above the 2.5 level from early this morning. Aside from that, mostly smaller microquake activity with a little bit of swarming down here to the southwest of Corona, California. A couple 2s out there. Actually, this is where a 2.8 struck this morning. Looks like some aftershock sequences there off of the northern edge of the Elsinore fault zone. Pacific Northwest, relatively quiet. Let's give a quick gander at the tremor map here tonight. 153 epicenters of tremor along the southern end of the Cascadia, a little bit up here across the Vancouver Island range, but really nothing big happening there for now. Let me see what we got. Earthquake 3D Globe here shows not a whole lot up along the coastline here of Canada. Mostly most of the movement down south there into California area. And even so, that's somewhat quiet on any given day. We could easily see that much earthquake activity. So nothing big happening for now, right? Yellowstone National Park, nothing showing up on the map. But, let's double check that. Make sure Make sure we got the latest information here. That's a wind event from earlier. Notice that it's dropped off. Not magma movement, not fluid movement. Wind movement can actually show up on these seismograph stations that are outside and exposed to the elements. Nothing major going on there for earthquake activity. Pretty quiet across Yellowstone National Park. Oil fields of Texas still getting hit. Eastern portion of the country pretty quiet. Quick glance here at the earthquake 3D globe. Man, it almost seems like ever since this ongoing event over here across the Greece area has been elevated, the rest of the world has been minimal. A little odd, I would say. You know, how could something in Greece, what's going on there, affect the plates as a whole? It's just been eerily quiet in terms of movement out here. No major earthquake activity. Some movement up here across the Japan area, the Kurokam-Chatka Trench. Couple 4 stirring up. Alaska's been quite active out here recently. Earlier this morning, a 4.3 earthquake just after midnight striking outside of Anchorage. The earthquake was felt across the area. But this has definitely been one area out here that's been more active than normal. Look at the 2.5 map. Shows a number of earthquakes out there across the Aleutian Trench, working its way inland there up towards the Denali area. I'm a little uncertain on if this is leading towards a bigger event or not. We do have a little swarming up here around the... Check that out. Living Good. Is that right? I like that name. Living Good, Alaska. I bet you it's a beautiful place up there. I don't think I made it that far north when I was out in Alaska here a few years back. I flew into Anchorage, traveled the road up to Fairbanks, a beautiful backcountry out there in the wintertime. Good thing I had 4-wheel drive. Never quite made it north here at Fairbanks, but a little earthquake swarming going on out there. Some 1s and 2s out there. Got about 24 earthquakes. It is north of the Denali area. Not for sure which fault system that's associated with. There's, I'm sure, a number of them. But a little bit of earthquake swarming going on out there across the north of Fairbanks area. Let's go ahead and check out the earthquake 3D globe, see if there's anything else major to chat about. Like I say, it's a little odd. The showstopper right now is the Santorini area. Whatever's going on underneath this area is definitely got the spotlight right now. A little quake coming into the Santorini area right now. This is a seismograph station there south of the area. This is going to be 4D right here. But it is picking up pretty much any earthquake that shows up above about 3.5 and above. The 5-pointers and 4-pointers really show up. But this earthquake, let's see what that is. I don't see it showing up yet. Can't be too big. I'm guessing probably another 3 or so. All right, let's check out let's check out space weather, see if anything major is going on out there across the sun. Been waiting, been watching this massive sunspot area 3981, but it's just sitting there looking pretty, and it doesn't want to put on a show for us, at least not yet. One thing I've noticed with these sunspots out here is that they tend to wait until they're away from the Earth-directed view to produce some type of major explosion. It still has quite a bit of complexity here. A lot of popcorn, different colors here, indicating that magnetic instability. And I'm just really surprised it hasn't popped off a decent M flare here today. I mean, we've had a number of C flares, a number of M flares over the last couple days, but really, it's just sitting there, folks, really not doing anything. We do have a coronal hole, number 13, that is just about ready to face us. That will supply a little bit of high-speed solar wind stream, Earth-directed, in a few days. May affect the aurora forecast slightly, but most of the time it doesn't really amount to much. There's your flare threat. These guys even bumped up the flare threat to 25% chance. I'm seeing it. They're seeing it. But right now, it just doesn't want to do anything. There's a lot of complexity there with 3981. But just not looking like it wants to do anything. M-flare 85% chance as well. Let's see what we got here for the weather. Well, starting to dry out here in Northern California after a couple days of decent rainfall. Quite a few roads around here still flooded and shut down. We got one more decent storm system coming in tomorrow. Probably drop about another quarter or 3/4 to an inch of rain here across Chico area, higher up in the elevations there, higher elevations. And then a few days to dry out before another storm system comes in towards the Valentine's Day, end of next week. A lot of cold air dipping down here across the eastern portion of the country, bringing with it a little bit of snow. But, yeah, it looks like West Coast there getting ready to return to a major wet pattern. That's good news here because we had a super, super duper dry January, only picking up 1/4 of an inch of rain, and that's quite rare for us to get that minimal precipitation on one of our wettest months of the year. This is our rainy season, so. But yeah, it is looking good now though, as far as precipitation totals, and we got a bunch more coming in as well. All right, let me check out the volcano discovery site. You know, we can check out many different sites here. Volcano out there around the where is this at? Japan area, it looks like. Seen some little explosion, ash explosion there earlier today. Guatemala area, it looks like as well. A number of volcanoes out there around the globe that are in eruption stage. Let's see, was this? Yeah, this is put out today. Let's see if they got any new information here on the Santorini Volcano. Colombo. There we go. Look at that. That's it shows some of the earthquake activity from January 29th to updated. Pretty recent. Of course, it started off not so heavy, right? Back at the end of January, but it did kick up a little bit to where we're at right now. Increasing magnitudes. Look at the depth of these earthquakes, though. Mostly centered around the 10-kilometer deep range where that magma chamber is at, but notice a lot of that coming up from the deeper areas as well, fracturing the surface region. That's why we see some shallower earthquake activity as well. Nothing telling me right now that this is calming down or backing off at all. It's very active here, folks. Seismic swarm 30 to 40 kilometers northeast of the island of Santorini, halfway between the Amorgos and Santorini area, continues strongly, but it seems that the number of strength of earthquakes has been decreasing a bit over the last 24 hours. I don't know. I have to disagree with that. Look at that. That's tell me that's not a mess of an event there. So that's what these guys are stating anyway. The more time passes, the less likely it is probable that a major quake is going to happen. As more and more tension along the fault lines is being released. See, these guys are just talking about earthquake activity. I don't think it's just earthquake activity. What's causing the earthquake activity? Plate strain? Fault lines? No, I don't think so. Looking at the depth of these earthquakes, consistent with magma levels down below, why are these guys downplaying that? All right, well, I mean, it's one of those things, right, where we have to watch it and see how it plays out. Nothing major going on there across Hawaii for now, and just general earthquake activity out here, folks, across the globe. There's that 3.4. Wasn't I close? I said a 3-pointer, low grade 3. That earthquake coming in here on that seismograph station there. Let me bring that back up. It's going to be that 3.4 showing up right there. I believe it looks like a secondary earthquake. I see no signs of this slowing down here. So there was a 3.3 and then 2.3. So it looks like that seismograph station is picking up the 2-pointers a little bit, 2.3. Let's see where that's at, though. But that's way up there. Maybe not. That's probably not going to be the 2.3. Maybe they haven't got to it yet. Because there's 2 earthquakes showing up there on that graph. Anyway, folks, we'll continue to watch this. It's my statement, and my observation and my education, stuff like that, tells me that this is magma, volcanic activity down here. But that's just my 2 cents. Everyone's going to have a different view and opinion on this. It doesn't make sense that this is just earthquake activity. It's interesting nonetheless. Not going to argue about it. Definitely going to report back on it. If anything changes, have yourself a good Wednesday night. We'll catch you guys back out here tomorrow for the Thursday morning update. Seismograph stations out there pretty quiet. Little spike of an earthquake on Petrolia, but overall it's quiet across the board there, at least on these right now. And of course on the live stream here, we do have the Earthquake 3D Globe consisting of the EMSC data and the USGS last 24 hours of earthquakes on the globe. Santorini station there on the bottom left side showing some of those 3-pointers coming in. Of course, the 4-pointers, 5-pointers going to flatline that area or flatline that seismograph station. So we'll continue to watch this, folks. Have yourself a good night. We'll catch you guys back out here in the morning. Stay safe.